We have made it to week 6 of our 7-week series, which is kind of hard to believe. I always feel like we have such a long journey together, and then before we know it, we're almost through it. I do have a block as a suggested support for today. It's really more to bring attention to the chakra that we're working with, which is the third eye chakra. So the third eye chakra is the 6th of the 7 main chakras that we're going to be studying with and exploring. It's located right in between the eyebrows. It is associated, if you think in terms of the elements, of kind of the element of light, but also this sense of like spirit, something that's beyond the body and the mind, because it's really rooted in this conceptualization of connecting us to our intuition, to our clarity, but very specifically our clarity in terms of like, what is our purpose in this life? Why are we here? What is our main goal? So it's clarity in that very big picture sense, and that ability to kind of see past all of the chaos to be like, no, this is where I'm headed and this is why. It's that sense of internal drive and inner consciousness. So go ahead and come into a comfortable seated position. I'm going to suggest hero's pose, and for me, I like to sit on a block when I'm in hero's pose, so you might bring that in as well. And then let the hands land on the tops of the thighs. You could have the palms down or up, depending on what feels better to you today. And then go ahead and let the eyelids softly close. As you start to settle into the body, you might first just acknowledge how the body's feeling in this position. Notice how the torso is oriented. Do you feel yourself slightly leaning forward or back? And just see if you can experiment with finding this position where your joints kind of feel stacked in this way that feels effortless. And so for me, this means kind of sliding the shoulders back right atop the hips, letting that natural S curve of my spine settle in. I invite my chin back so that the back of my neck and head can elongate. As you're breathing here, the color associated with the third eye chakra is the color of indigo. So this kind of purpley blue hue. You may even visualize an indigo orb in the center of your forehead, right between the eyebrows. This color clearing away anything that's in the way of you being able to see clearly. Almost like a lighthouse that's shedding light on the direction you need to go or the way forward. We'll spend about 30 more seconds here acknowledging that the third eye chakra is really this place where we connect with our sense of insight and intuition and inner wisdom. But when it's out of balance, it can result in a lack of imagination, struggling with decision making, or a feeling of aimlessness. And so in our yoga class today, we're going to really focus on postures that bring awareness to our eye placement, balancing postures, and really welcoming in a steady focus both on how the practice feels physically in the body, but also intuitively how it feels. Take one more breath right here in this opening, kind of centering meditation. And then we're going to start to just massage around the eyes. So I'm going to take my fingertips, massaging underneath my eyes, moving inward towards the bridge of my nose. Once you get to the bridge of your nose, start to move up, kind of along the bridge of the nose towards where that third eye chakra is between the eyebrows, and just let yourself apply a little bit of pressure in and up towards that third eye chakra, and just gently hold that pressure there. And just take 3 deep breaths here, breathing your awareness into that third eye space. If you enjoy having an affirmation as you breathe in, you might just say to yourself, I am intuitive and wise. And as you breathe out, I'm listening to my deepest wisdom. Breathing in, I am intuitive and wise. I'm breathing out, I am listening to my deepest wisdom. Last breath here, I am intuitive and wise. And breathing out, I am listening to my deepest wisdom. Begin to release the hands, just noticing if there's still some tingling around that third eye region. Start to shift forward onto all fours. As you land there, if there's any immediate movement that's calling out to you, go ahead and start to welcome that in as we start to really shift into the physical practice. We are going to start with some rolling cat and cows that are going to pass through child's pose. We do these together quite often. So if you haven't already, start to round up into your cat pose, pushing down into the hands, rounding the spine, and then continue sitting the hips back to the heels. Let your third eye or your forehead find the mat for a brief moment, feeling that contact. And then drop your elbows and forearms to the floor, lift your head, and like you're leading with your third eye chakra, scoop the heart forward, lift and press up into your cow. Now round into your cat. Melt back to your child's pose, forehead to mat. Feel that contact with the third eye. Drop the elbows and the forearms, and then like you're leading with your third eye, scoop down, forward, and up. And just continue this circular movement, finding that contact, forehead to mat, and then leading with the third eye, Ajna Chakra. So it's spelled A-J-N-A, Ajna Chakra, third eye chakra. Leading these rolling cat and cows for about 2 more rounds. And then the next time that you find yourself shifting forward, I want you to relocate your block if you have it. Bring it back about 9 to 12 inches behind your hands. Tuck your toes, press up to your downward facing dog, and let your forehead land on that block. So you may have to kind of play around with the placement. I have my block on the medium height here. As I let that forehead, third eye chakra land on the block, just stimulating my awareness of where I'm focusing my practice. Remembering this is kind of the home of our sense of insight, our ability to see beyond the superficial to what's underneath the surface, that sense of deep intuition. Take 3 more breaths here in this down dog, rooting down through the hands, feeling the hasta bandha, the hand locks, lifting up through the sitting bones, and melting the third eye chakra onto the block. On your next inhale, lift the head away from the block. Start to walk your feet forward towards the back of the hands. As you need to, move your block out of the way, making your way into Uttanasana at the front of the mat. And then let this Uttanasana have that forehead focus. So let the back of the neck elongate. Let your forehead draw down and then forward towards your shins, like you're looking through your legs as if it were a window pane towards the wall behind you. Take a couple more breaths here, Uttanasana with a third eye chakra awareness. 1 more breath right here. And then we'll start to shift into our sun salutations. We're going to build our first mountain pose. Maybe you soften the knees as you start to rise up to your first Tadasana mountain, reaching the arms high. Feeling that link through the body, bringing the hands into heart center. Maybe you pass briefly through the third eye, letting the thumbs land in between the eyebrows and then bringing them down to the heart. We're going to start with 3 Surya Namaskaram A's. The first one, eyes will be open. The second and third round, I'm going to invite you to close the eyes, dropping into that deeper intuition. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, folding forward over the legs. We'll keep this fluid with the breath. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, stepping it back to your first plank pose. Pause for a moment. Eyes are open. You're looking down in between the thumbs at your mat. Remember, where we're placing our eyes is really important for developing that connection to the third eye chakra. One more in-breath into plank. Exhale either all the way to the mat or through your chaturanga. Inhaling upward facing dog or a cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So I want you to think in this practice like you really do have a third eye in between the eyebrows. And in every posture, thinking to yourself, kind of, where am I looking with my third eye? So even in this down dog, we've got the forehead looking down towards the mat, drilling that awareness and that focus into the earth. And then as we start to close this first Surya A, inhale, look to the front of the mat. Exhale, walk, step, or hop the feet. Inhale, take your half lift. Exhale, fold, third eye towards the shins. Inhale, rising up mountain, third eye's looking straight ahead at what's to come. Exhale, hands pass through the third eye. Maybe the thumbs touch the third eye chakra and then to heart center. Maybe close your eyes as we move into the second round. Sweep the arms out and up. Feeling the flow more than seeing it, folding over the legs. Trusting yourself. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, stepping or walking back, plank. Think of where you're looking even with the eyes closed. Feel the third eye chakra looking down and then move through chaturanga or to floor. Inhale, back bend of choice. Exhale, down dog. We'll take 2 breaths in the down dog. Eyes closed is the invitation here. Feeling that internal sight, looking down at the mat. That inner sense of seeing, of knowing. Inhale, looking forward. Can you trust yourself to travel to the front of the mat with your eyes closed? And then as you inhale, lift up halfway, feel the spine get long. Exhale, fold, forehead towards the shins. Inhale, rise, hands overhead, maybe eyes still closed. And then passing through third eye down to the heart. One more Surya A, arms sweeping out and up. Exhale, folding. Intuitively feeling the practice, half lift, more than needing to physically see it with the eyes open, back to plank. Chaturanga or to mat, cobra or up dog, down dog, 2 breaths. Dropping into this sense of being a visionary. You know, a vision is something we see before it's real. We visualize it. That power of visualization coming from the third eye chakra, lifting the head, visualizing the front of the mat, and then traveling there, even though the eyes are closed, trusting that travel, half lift. Exhale, fold. Sweep the arms out and up. Hands pass down through the third eye and down to the heart. Blinking open the eyes, moving into 2 Surya Namaskaram C. Release the arms, inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart center, 1. Inhale, forward, up, and back is 2. Exhale, folding over the legs is 3. We're gonna lead with the left foot to the back of the mat, left knee down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Take a full breath here, just enjoying the lunge, breathing into the front of the body, stepping it back, downward facing dog. Listen carefully here. We're gonna come all the way to the mat as we shift forward to plank. Lower through chaturanga all the way to the mat. Bring your third eye down to the mat, forehead down. Bring your energy into your legs. Lift both legs up towards the sky. Breathing. 2. Locust legs, Shavasana legs. That's it. 1 more in-breath. Exhale, release the legs. Pass through either reverse chaturanga or all 4s. Back to downward facing dog. Seeing the big picture more than the individual pose, you're seeing this whole practice, not just breath to breath, not just one pose at a time. You're seeing how it all connects. Look to the front of your mat, left foot forward, right knee down. Inhale, sweep it up. Take a full breath, enjoy the lunge. 1 more breath in. Exhale, hands come down, step the right foot forward to meet the left. Third eye towards the shins as you fold. Standing all the way up, forward, up, and back. Hands to heart center. One more Surya C, option to close the eyes, release the arms, breath in. Exhale, palms of the hands together, that's one. Position 2, reaching forward up and feeling the back bend. Folding over the legs, position 3. Right foot steps back, right knee melts down. Can you trust yourself to move through the flow, feeling it more than seeing it? Hands down, step back to down dog. Shifting forward to the plank. You know you're looking down even though your eyes are closed. Control that descent all the way down to the mat. Forehead down, energy to the legs. Front of the shoulders is lifting away from the mat. Elbows are pulling back. Lift the legs. Shavasana legs, 2. One more in-breath. Release. Either all fours or reverse chaturanga. Press up, downward facing dog. Trusting your higher self. Looking forward, right foot forward, left knee down. Being focused and alert, even though the eyes are closed, noticing how the other senses get a little sharper. Hands down, left foot comes forward to meet the right, third eye towards the shins. Reaching forward, up and back. Hands pass through third eye, down to heart center. Releasing the arms, keeping the eyes closed for about a 30-second micro meditation. When I was planning today's practice, I found this quote that said, listening to your intuition is a decolonizing practice. It's returning back to the body and the spirit as a source of wisdom. It's unlearning the notion that it needs to be empirically proven in order to be valid. It's unlearning that it has to be empirically proven to be valid. Returning to the body and the spirit as a source of wisdom. Taking one more breath before we shift into our standing sequence. And we're going to start this sequence with a balancing practice. So blink open your eyes. Find something in front of your line of sight that's not going to move. We're going to start with a tree pose. So Vrikshasana, we're going to stand on the left leg to start. Coming up to start to build your tree. You could keep a nice low tree, toes on the floor. You could come up to the calf. If you want a higher tree, by all means. Find a tree that allows you to feel stable. Any variation of your arms is great for me, because once you get stable in your tree, I want to invite you to start to slowly blink the eyes a few times. Maybe experimenting with keeping them closed for 1 or 2 seconds, maybe longer. Feeling the balance inside of the body as this deep well of what does it mean to feel balanced, even when you remove that source of sight. Last breath there in Vrikshasana. And then blinking open the eyes, we're going to drop into Garudasana eagle pose. Right thigh is going to melt on top of left, but I'm going to let you have a kickstand here as you bring your right toes down to the floor. And then I want you to bring your palms right to your third eye. So I have my thumbs right at my third eye center. My palms are together. And then depending on how kind of engaged your pecs are, you could keep a slight separation in the forearms, or you could bring them together. So you could be straight super glued together from elbow to thumbs, or you could have a little teepee space. Beautiful. Keep breathing. 2. One more in-breath, and you're going to float open to warrior 3, extending right leg behind you, arms reach behind you. Think of that third eye radiating down and forward like there was a laser beam coming out of that third eye chakra. Down towards the floor. Beautiful. Holding 3. Being a present observer of your life. Last inhale. You're going to lower back into plank pose. Hands to mat. Soften your left knee. Step back to plank pose and hold. This is part of the flow. So this plank pose is not just a transitional pose. It's a pose in the sequence that we're holding on purpose. Notice where you're looking. Being strong, focused, and alert. Take one more inhale as you exhale, lower to forearm plank. Right forearm, left forearm. Dolphin pose, keeping the forearms down, walking the feet towards the back of the elbows. Maybe you soften the knees a little bit here. Let the head relax, maybe shaking a yes or no. And then lifting your head, looking forward, just a little bit of play here as you bring your right knee towards your right armpit. And then back to dolphin. Left knee towards left armpit. And back to dolphin. Just one more each side. Right knee to right armpit. And dolphin. Left knee to left armpit. And dolphin. Looking forward, we're going to shift into plank pose on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Plank. Boom. Chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. Looking to the front of the mat, walking or stepping your feet. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, folding in, third eye towards the shins. Sweeping the arms out and up. Right away, setting up for your tree pose, second side. So weight shifts to that right leg, starting to build your tree. You know you're eventually going to play around with closing the eyes. Letting your body make all those micro adjustments in order to stay here. Coming into that Garudasana eagle variation, blinking open the eyes, stabilize the drishti, the focus of the eyes. Start to release the left leg, sliding left thigh over right, left toes finds the floor, and then bringing the palms together, thumbs come to third eye center, either keeping that slight kind of triangular shape with the forearms or bringing them together. 2. One more breath in, and then you're going to bloom open to warrior 3. Left leg back, arms back, forehead like a laser beam coming out of that third eye chakra, slightly forward and down. And even feeling through that right foot, you're actually connected to the wisdom of the universe through that energy you having running down that right leg into the mat through the earth. One more breath in. Then you're going to control your descent back to plank pose. Hands down, step it back. So this is more than your 5 senses. You're seeing, you're hearing, you're touching, you're tasting, you're smelling. This is that internal kind of interoception. It's like it's the 6th sense that's guiding you. This insight that's beyond the direct experience of the 5 senses we hear about all the time. Forearm plank, left forearm, right forearm. Being a present observer of your life. Don't bypass this moment just because it might be a little difficult. Be with it. Take one more breath in. Transition to your dolphin. Lift the hips. Walk the toes in. I like a micro bend in my knees here because it helps me reestablish that length in my spine. It also helps me reestablish how I'm distributing my weight in this pose. You could stay here or start to invite a little flow, left knee to left armpit, and back, and right to right, and back. Left knee forward, and back, and right knee forward, and back. Shifting forward to plank on the count of 3. You ready? Lift your head like an arrow releasing from a bow. 1, 2, 3, go. chaturanga. Up dog. Child's pose. Knees down, hips to heels, forehead to mat. Again, going back to that quote, we're taking a little break here before we repeat that series. We're listening to our intuition as this kind of decolonizing practice. We're returning back to the body and the spirit as a source of wisdom. We're unlearning this idea that it has to be empirically proven in order to be valid. Sometimes we know something and we don't have the words for it. We don't have the science for it, but we know it undeniably. That doesn't make it not true. One more breath here. Looking forward, shifting up and back to your downward facing dog. Looking forward to the front of your mat, making your feet travel to the back of your wrists in whatever way feels good to you. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Sweeping the arms out and up. Hands to heart center. Releasing the arms, moving in. So a couple of things I want to say. We're going to repeat the sequence. You have the option to do a full wrap of the legs in your Garudasana if you want to take away the kickstand. Okay. There's also the option to practice baby crow, which is where knees are on the back of the arms from your dolphin pose. Okay. So that's, if you don't want to practice baby crow, then you just do those knee kind of almost like mountain walks or mountain climbers, but on your forearms. Okay. So front of the mat, here we go. Second time through the standing sequence. Looking forward, finding your drishti on something that's not going to move, shifting the weight to the left leg, start to build your tree pose. Once you find your Vrikshasana tree pose, start to play around with blinking the eyes, maybe experiencing a moment with the eyes closed. 2 more complete breaths here. Trusting the wisdom of the body to keep itself balanced. Start to move into your Garudasana, right thigh over left. You could keep the kickstand or you could wrap the right foot behind the left calf. Maybe seal your eagle, bringing your elbows towards your knees, thumbs to third eye. One more breath. Warrior 3, right leg back, arms back. 2. One more breath. Stepping back to plank. Following your intuition. Seeing the bigger picture. Right forearm down, left forearm down, forearm plank. Dolphin pose, lifting the hips, walking the feet forward. Taking a breath in the dolphin, even if you know you're going for the arm balance. Enjoy this pose, don't bypass it. And then if you're coming for your baby crow, shift the weight forward, walk the toes in, start to glue the knees to the back of the arms, and then big toes together. Playing for one more breath. And then walking the feet back, you're in your dolphin. We'll shift forward through our vinyasa. On the count of 3, we move to plank. 1, 2, 3, plank. Chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. 2 breaths. Trusting that inner guidance, whatever it's telling you. I promise you, it's way wiser than me. It's much more intuitive than anything I could ever cue you to do. And it's connected to something that's so much bigger than just your individual self. Look to the front of the mat, walking or stepping the feet forward. Taking that half lift, folding in. Sweeping those arms out and up. What is your intuition telling you? Start to build your tree pose. You're standing on the right leg. You're finding your vrikshasana. When you get there, maybe you're closing your eyes. You start to drop into your Garudasana. You could keep the kickstand, left thigh over right, or you could wrap the left foot, forearms together maybe. Maybe sealing it together, elbows to knees, thumbs to third eye center. Warrior 3, left leg back, arms reaching back, flying, 2 breaths. You're a visionary. You can see where you're headed because you see the big picture. Step back to plank. You have this seed of divinity inside of you that looks a whole lot like insight and intuition and wisdom. You're connecting to that. Lower left forearm, right forearm. Lifting the hips, walking dolphin pose. Taking a breath in the dolphin pose, even if you're going to work with the baby crow. And then if you're coming into baby bakasana, I look forward, shift my shoulders forward, walk my feet in as close as I can get. I kind of squat down and then I squeeze my knees to the back of my triceps and pull my big toes together. One more breath. Beautiful play, everybody. Walking back to your dolphin. Last time through a vinyasa, we'll shift to plank on 3, looking forward. 1, 2, 3, go. Vinyasa. Up dog. Child's pose. Knees down. Third eye chakra finds the mat. Breathing. Returning back to the body and the spirit as a source of wisdom. Shifting to a seated sequence, lift the head. We're going to come into deer pose. So slide your right shin forward. Your left shin is going to be alongside the left long edge of your mat. So my right foot is kind of around my left knee, hugging it there. We're going to do a deer forward fold here. So if you're tight in this right hip, you might not go very far. It might look about like this. You may be able to go farther depending on how this right hip is feeling. We'll drop in for about 3 to 4 breaths here. I have a series of about 4 or 5 poses on the floor here. It's such a simple question, this question of what is my intuition telling me? But it's a question that we don't have a lot of skillfulness at hearing the answer to. Start to walk your hands towards your right shin, lifting the torso. You're going to keep your right leg as it is, but just extend your left leg forward for Janu Shirshasana. You may need to kind of hug that right heel in closer depending on what feels good to you. And then sweeping the arms out and up. We're coming straight into Janu Shirshasana A, head to knee pose, as we hinge the body forward. And sometimes I cue this pose with the torso going straight forward, which would be a little bit on the inside of the left leg. But for today's purpose, I really want you to think of that third eye moving towards the left leg, wherever that is for you. So that means there's a very mild twist in the spine here as you really reach towards the left leg. And even here, like in the pose, so much of our yoga practice is teaching us how to return to listening
to that intuition. What is your intuition telling you here? Is there anything you need to change in this moment in order to be a more honest reflection of your own personal wisdom? Is there something you need to shift or honor? And start to reach the fingertips forward, lifting up. Ardha Matsyendrasana A. Lift the right knee up, cross the right foot over the left leg, and then left hand or elbow as you start to hug in and twist around. And just one more full breath in this twist, because we're actually going to get to do a slightly different twist in the other direction. So as you inhale, look forward, come out of the twist, and then see if you can come into half lotus. So right foot would come up to the left hip crease, right knee down. If this is not a happy place for you, half lotus, then just take your right ankle across your left knee, almost like you're in a figure four. That would be another option. And then we're going to twist the other direction. So I'm going to turn my torso to the left. My right hand comes outside my left leg, and then my left hand is behind me and I'm twisting. Open twist. One more breath here. And then inhale, looking forward, coming out of the twist. I'm going to create a half lotus by just bending my left knee and let my left foot be like a little cushion for my right knee to land on. This is as far as we're going. We're just going to take 5 breaths in half lotus. So hands either on the knees or in the lap. Breathing here. Maybe returning to that opening affirmation. Breathing in, I am intuitive and wise. And breathing out, I'm listening to my deepest wisdom. I am intuitive and wise. I'm listening to my deepest wisdom. One more breath here. And then as you blink open the eyes, deciding for yourself if you want to take a energizing vinyasa between sides or if you want to move immediately to deer pose. I'm going to go straight to the deer pose. So if you want a vinyasa, by all means take it. Otherwise, it's going to be left shin forward, right shin is alongside the long edge of the mat. Finding that deer position and then just going straight forward into the forward fold. And for me, this is the side of my body that has more resistance to this shape. So I find that my body moves a little bit more in a diagonal action here. That's okay, it's not wrong. My body actually tells me the way I need to go in the pose. And I can challenge it a little bit. It's not that it's not that I'm not willing to engage in some discomfort, but I'm also really honoring its limitations at the same time. So there's definitely sensation for me here, but I'm not giving it too much sensation. Last breath here means the last opportunity to be fully present with what's in this shape. And then Janu Shirshasana A. So lifting the torso, extending that right leg, making any adjustments with that left foot. And then finding your way into the head to knee pose. And in this case, you know, the Sanskrit translation is head to knee pose. And for today, we really are trying to bring head to knee because we have that third eye chakra focus. When we really balance the Ajna Chakra, the third eye chakra, we're able to live more fully in the present moment. We start to really invest in trusting our intuition to guide us. And it also really fosters this sense of clarity and deeper understanding of ourselves, this alignment with our true purpose. Start to reach the fingertips forward, up. Ardha Matsyendrasana A, lift the left knee, cross the left foot over the right leg. Find your spinal twist. Just a couple breaths here. And I talk all the time about the intuition, the wisdom of the pelvis. And this is such a great pose for remembering that. So noticing if you're letting the pelvis move from that place of intuition in your twist. As you turn forward, see how it would feel to move into a half lotus. If that doesn't feel good, please take a figure 4 position. We'll take that open twist, left hand to outer right leg, right hand behind you, twisting open. And then looking forward, releasing the twist, bending the right knee and letting that right foot become a little cushion for the left knee. Half lotus pose, 5 breaths. Intuition is the voice of our soul, whispering the truth to our hearts, hoping that they'll listen. Intuition is the voice of our soul, whispering the truth to our hearts, hoping that they'll listen. Blinking open the eyes, if you had closed them, come into a comfortable cross-legged position for Yoga Mudrasana or the Yogic seal. So any comfortable cross-legged position will work. I like a half lotus here. You can bring the hands behind you, clasping hold of opposite wrist. And with the open hand, maybe you close it with a mudra. So we're really closing and sealing all the energy into the body. As you inhale, lift up tall through the spine. And as you exhale, hinging forward, you may need to bring that block back in place so your forehead has a place to land, really connecting that third eye onto something. Sealing all of the energy from this practice into the body. On your next breath, lengthening out through the crown of the head, slowly floating back up to center. And then taking this calm, centered energy, shifting onto your spine for Shavasana. Giving ourselves about a 90-second Shavasana in this practice. So seeing if we can drop into stillness somewhat quickly. Intuition is your soul whispering the truth to your heart, hoping it will listen. Intuition is the voice of your soul, whispering to your heart, hoping it will listen. Allowing your intuition to be your guide. Begin to welcome in deeper, more enlivening breath. As the breath deepens, welcome in subtle movement through your fingers and toes, perhaps reaching them overhead for a full body stretch. And then whatever way feels good and natural to you, gently make your way back up to a comfortable seat.
We're going to close the practice this evening with Dirghaswasam, or the 3-part breath. And you can visualize this breath in a number of ways. Some people think of it like belly, chest, throat. But I want you to think of the breath culminating in that third eye region on the inhale. And then as you exhale, it releasing from that third eye inner chakra down like a waterfall through the rest of the body. Okay? So finding a comfortable seated position, just take a round of clarifying breath in and out. And the next time you find yourself inhaling, I want you to think of inhaling the bottom third of the body, the mid third, all the way up to that third eye chakra in between the eyebrows. Hold for a moment or as long as is comfortable. And then when the body tells you it needs to exhale, start to release the exhale from that third eye center, letting it wash over the body with that calming release. And again, whenever you're ready, you inhale like a third, 2/3, all the way up to that third eye chakra between the eyebrows. Hold as long as is comfortable. And then releasing that waterfall of calming, soothing energy over the rest of the body. And just take that one more time at your own pace, breathing in 1/3, 2/3, all the way up to that third eye chakra, holding. And then releasing like you're pouring that calming energy over the rest of the body. And just noticing how you feel following the pranayama. And then bringing the palms of the hands together when you're ready to seal the practice. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Victory to all of our practices.